Hey, what's up Diablo players? This is gonna be a guide for the martial arts assassin using Natalya set. First off, martial arts reworked in PD2 for season 2, so it's actually very viable right now. And this is gonna be a Phoenix version. Cobra version is also really solid. Is it viable for Hell? Yes, it is. Phoenix is a CC machine, so for groups as well, it's really nice. The third hit, Chaos Ice Bolt. It hard freezes everything, even packs. Not the pack bosses, but even packs gets frozen. The perma freeze. I'll show you in some gameplay soon. Alright, so I'm using the Natalya set in this one. This will be changed, however, to Kira's, probably Stone, and later Chains of Honor as the best in slots. Bartuk's probably your best in slot weapon. It's really solid. For now I'm using Natalya here for main weapon since it gives me more attack speed. I used this as a main weapon before. So Natalya set. I socket this with Soul Runes since I have with Fade I have my resistances maxed. Could use versus speed as well, but I use Soul Runes to reduce damage even further, and a Shell Rune to reach my breakpoint for a Foster Hit recovery. I would like to have 86 though, but I'll fix that later with some other gear and maybe some charms. Rings, Dual Leech would be perfect here. Still no luck on the Dual Leech. This ring, if you use Natalya, you need to get Cannot Frozen somewhere. So you would want to get Ravenfrost, so you Cannot Frozen. Unless you get like a Slam, Cannot Frozen elsewhere. Sockets for this build, if you don't want to do these and you get socket on the Helm, for instance, either, Bear Rune if you can afford it, more damage reduction. Rainbow Faucets. The minus to enemy resistance work from faucets for these skills, but the plus skill plus percentage damage to cold skills, for example, does not work. Well, cold is maybe the only exception. Fire and lightning plus percentage damage does not scale as you want it to, but the minus is what's important. So you could buy a -5 +3 or the lowest ones on the plus skill for this build, so you could get some pretty cheap Rainbow Faucets. Weapon, you want to reach a decent attack speed, and then you could put Faucet in those as well, or Runes, because this character has a bit of a problem gearing up Magic Find. So the gear pieces you need, seldom you do have Magic Find on it, so your Magic Find should either come from Topazes, Runes, or your small charms. Small charms like MF. Gloves, you cannot go wrong with martial arts with attack speed. 3+ martial arts is like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a lot of damage bonus to this build. Same with the amulet, you would want either something like High Lord for the melee component stats on it as well for the plus skill and attack speed, or you'd want 3 or 2 martial arts with some added stats and res. Belt, I guess String of Airs for Dongos. Nosferatu could also be a decent option, depending on what content you do, perhaps even Thunder God. I'm just using IK now for some strength and resistances. And on Switch I'm using Harmony right now, but on Switch a decent option could be something like Wiper Fork or 2-3 Venom Claws with the rune words in them. This one is pretty nice just because 5 poison skill, Venom pre-buff. This is also an option. One skill anywhere is really good because it boosts your damage quite a lot. Other gloves, if you don't have MA gloves, Laying of Hands, always solid. Attack rating is nice to have where you can get it, some attack ratings, charms and stuff, so you can get your hit chance up. But I do see a lot of people having trouble with hit attack rating for some reason. I've never felt that myself so far. So yeah, I don't know, but if you do have problems, one thing you could do is either have obedience on your merc or on your switch as well. An obedience rune word. The highest rune is a fall, I think. And that can proc the enchant, which boosts your AR a lot, and you get a lot of fire damage as well. Or you can use the demon limb to just enchant yourself. So those are some options if you lack the AR. But myself, I don't really feel like I do. So stats, I'd say enough strength to wear a storm shield perhaps, and like 110-ish dexterity. If you use a Bartok, you get a lot of dexterity from those. I will end up using 2 Bartoks most likely, with Stone Word and the Kiras. Kiras is probably your best in slot because of the minus resistance stats that it has. And as I said, it does work with the minus, not the plus percentage damage on the elements. But yeah, around 100 dexterity. You could pump it up after wearing a Bartox or Natalya. And if you use Storm Shield or something like that, then get max block. Shouldn't be too much, and you do get damage from it, base damage and stuff. So it's pretty nice. And the rest in Vitality, as usual. So for skills, avoided wise, you go 1 point when you can down to Blade Shield. Blade Shield right now is splash healing with Leech. So every tick of Blade Shield, when you're close to a monster that can be leeched, you pretty much get instant full health. Which is really nice. And it puts the monsters in hit recovery as well, so it's a real lifesaver. So 1 point here is a 1 point wonder right now. Really good. But the leech will continue to work, but the splash leech will be nerfed most likely. Shadow Disciplines, I put 1 point down to Venom, and now I'm maxing Claw Mastery. Also, if you're lacking AR, you can max Claw Mastery before Blaze of Ice, but I really like Blades of Ice, and the bonus, the damage it does is really nice, the cold portion of Phoenix Strike. And I do believe every Ice Bolt can pierce and strike several times, the same monster several times, so it can do some crazy damage as well. Chain Lightning, if that goes through a monster twice, I don't think it does the damage twice, but all the Chaos Ice Bolts does, if I'm correct. 1 point to Dragonflight just for repositioning. You don't have to do this, but it's really nice to be able to reposition when you want to. For this tree, max Fist of Fire, Claws of Thunder, and Phoenix Strike. These are your 3 main priority skills to max. And then start pumping either Blaze of Ice or max Claw. Claw gives you more of that base damage, attack rating. This is real nice. Versus speed as well, a few points if you feel like you have all the rest you need and you need to reach another attack speed breakpoint, then possibly more points in burst of speed. Fade is always nice as well, and each hard point gives you damage reduction, or if it might even be soft points actually. So Fade is also really nice. I've been using Fade for the maxing my res and some more DR. Venom pre-buff just to get some extra damage. So if you look at my stats here, Blade Shield does about 700 to 900 damage, and it leeches, splash leeches, so it's super crazy. So with this, I'm at almost capped res. I even got max res because I got a max res corruption here. The Phoenix Strikes 5k damage, and then we have Fist of Fire 3k. Claws of Thunder up to almost 8.5k. Blades of Ice around 5k, and this damage is crazy. It's really crazy. I can show you here real quick. Frigids, Phoenix Strike, the fire portion around 5k, the lightning 7k, cold around 3k. So these are cold immune. I usually just go with Claws of Thunder on those. But as you'll see, everything gets frozen. That's not cold immune. So if I hit like this, let's see if we can get some. Oh yeah, cold immune, of course. Low damage rolls on all the hits. Yeah, let's show some cows. The standard farm runs, you can do Travi, you can do Pindle, you can do Shank, you can do cows. Well, as a Phoenix assassin, you can actually do everything. You have no immunities you have to deal with. You deal quad damage. Fire, lightning, cold, and physical. So nothing is immune to you. Which is also a really nice part of this build. You can deal with exactly everything. It's not really a solid, you can see here, they get frozen. Every time I get through the rotation to ice bolts, it just gets frozen. So it's a permafreeze for groups. It's not really a boss killer because I don't have the other stats I guess would be needed, and some more minus res for bosses, so bosses are a bit slow, but you do damage, you do quite a lot of damage. And as I said, the cold portion, if that hits a lot on the boss, it does crazy damage. Here you can see I'm leeching like crazy as well, so I'm keeping alive through those that are immune and stuff. Ooh. Actually, I've been searching for this, so that's nice. But yeah, it's super solid for group play. You can freeze everything. You're a CC machine, as I said. CC machine. And with the Natalya set, which has a lot of defensive stats on it, you do get a lot of damage reduction. As you can see, 14 from the soul runes. Physical damage taken is reduced by 14. And then the set 20% and then 4% from fade, so you have a lot of damage reduction, and that could easily be buffed with a storm shield, for example. Yeah, I think that's about it for this build for now. We will update this when we have all the other pieces I want to get. Probably, as I said, the Kira's best in slot. Stone until I can get the Chains of Honor. Chains of Honor is probably your best bet because plus skills is so good on this build. Boots, I'm not sure. Perhaps Shadow Dancers just to get the passive bonuses and buff fades and stuff. Belt, probably String of Ears or Dongos for even more DR and defensive stats. These I would like 320s, but these are pretty decent. And I get some of my magic fine here. Weapons, Bartux, dual Bartux. You want the 2 to Martial Arts, of course. But yeah, those are you have some solid options there, and you can always go something like Flesh Ripper as well. Flesh Ripper is a really solid early option as well, and works fine, just fine. Here's another pair. Let's see, from the early stages, I would advise you to go after SAS build. It's pinned in the assassin section in Discord. His build is really solid, and he has a leveling section as well, so you can check how you spec your levels while you go, because you can level as this as well. It's pretty nice actually. But pretty much you just pump your Claw Mastery 1 point the burst of speed until you get to Fist of Fire, and then you just pump Fist of Fire until 18, and then you go Claws of Thunder until you reach Phoenix and max Phoenix, and then max the other ones. So that's pretty much your way to go for the levels. For claws early, any claws actually with plus martial arts or plus to any of the skills you use is really nice. If you get the 3-socket one, you can make the rune word pattern, or pattern as I think it's written in the code. That's a really solid claw option early. You get some res, you get some stats and ED and stuff. So that's a really solid option early. 3 easy runes if I remember correctly. And then get to Anya, shop claws. Shop 3 to Martial Lords once. Just go ham in that shop, and even there you can buy 2 20s, 3 20s. Got your 2 weapons covered there if you're lucky, and your gloves, which is pretty fine, Try and reach for 86 fast rate recovery if you can. It's not super important, but at least 48 or 86 I would go for. And then for res, as I said, if you do not reach your max res, use fade. Try make some shells in a weapon and stuff so you get a decent attack speed. But as long as you keep alive, you will stay alive. The hard part playing this build is sometimes you get like desynced, so your hits doesn't feel like they hit. But if you just reposition a little bit, just move to the side a little bit, then you will start hitting again. I promise. It works 90% of the time. Because yeah, 95% chance to hit. It does work. It can feel a little bit iffy, but you have to move a little bit to get those hits in. Yeah, I don't think there's much else for now. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. But you can do any content in the game. Hell viable? Yes. Natalya set viable? Yes, it's a good defensive option. Because what you lack on this character is defensive options. Pretty much. But then again, you make up for it with that hard CC as well. And for late game, I'll probably switch this MA into the Cobra version. But yeah, I'll need some Bramble and High Rune stuff for that, so that'll be way later. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you when I get this build updated, I guess. See ya.